Hello, my name is Jesus Charles, and I have been at Firefly Aerospace for a little bit more than 5 years. Firefly Aerospace is an end-to-end space transportation provider, meaning that we make access to space reliable and economical. On March 2nd of this year, we were the first fully commercial lunar landing. Yeah, my work on Blue Ghost Mission 1 really consisted of leading the architecture for the ground system that we needed to execute the mission. Everything for how we were going to ingest data, for how we were going to visualize it, and how we were going to communicate all that to our operators and to our customers. During our final moments as we were descending onto the lunar surface, I think everyone was laser focused. Like, you could hear a pin drop in the control room. So we were all glued to our screens because the descent was fully automatic. So the lander was doing its job and all we could do was track the data. So as we landed and we touched down, our chief engineer basically gave the green light that we were successfully on the moon. I couldn't believe it. I just kept looking at the screen and like celebrating and hugging people, but I kept looking at the screen like it was an unreal experience. We selected Grafana because it provided us with speed, flexibility, and clarity. It allowed us to build dashboards fast so we could get the data in front of us. It allowed us to evolve those dashboards as our mission was progressing, and it also allowed us to share data between all the different consoles. We could borrow panels from another system and make a better dashboard. So first on the screen, this is our one of our descent dashboards. Basically, we needed to keep track of a lot of metrics as we were coming down to the lunar surface. Here in this panel, you can see how we're tracking the altitude versus the distance to our landing site. And then we have another panel. These two panels on the right really allowed us to have confidence that we had landed and touched down on the surface and that we were stable. This dashboard maps in terms of lunar gravity, the acceleration on the vertical axis of the lander. So as we descended, we have these gravity variations, right? And then as we touched down on the surface, we knew it needed to go to 1. So the gravity that would be matching the lunar surface gravity. Also, we have our landing sensor panel. This was hooked up to 4 sensors on the footpads of the lander, and they were hooked up so that when the lander touched down on the lunar surface, those footpads will align and move and rotate, and then they would trigger the sensors. So we had a clear indication that we were touched down on the surface. I have a couple of surface dashboards. These are most of the dashboards that we use on our video wall to give all the operators awareness. Here you can see on the left, we are tracking the state of each of the payloads. We had 10 payloads on this mission, and each of them had multiple components. So we needed a clear way to see if they were powered on or powered off. We also have our flight jet sequence tracker. This is the sequences that we used on board the lander to know what operations were ongoing at the time. Here we can see a few of the sequences that were running at that moment. And then along other information, we have like states for our vision navigation system and floodlights and some of the other components. Here's another one of the surface dashboards. It's showing in the time frame that I have selected, it's showing our mission phase, which is descent, and then the specific mode is descent critical, which has very specific meanings for our mission, but basically it's the lander is focused on doing its descent sequence. And then we have other data here, such as like the time that the lander is tracking, the communication mode that we have for our antennas, and along with the solar array states. Here now on the screen is one of the dashboards for the flight directors. So this has a lot of information, but at a high level so that we could get a sense of how the system is doing without having to drill down into any specific area. Again, we can see our mission phase, our mission mode, and then this ADCS mode is basically what the lander, how it's behaving while it's going down to the surface. We had different modes, for example, when it was moving into the vector to do a maneuver into the orientation, or into pointing to the Earth for our X-band communication system. So really the goal of this dashboard is to show us and give us like a quick overlook into key things that we needed during the mission. Having used Grafana for our mission 1 makes us feel really comfortable about our Blue Ghost mission 2, Blue Ghost mission 3, and the other Elytra missions that we have coming up. Now it gives us a baseline that we can pull from versus having to start from scratch like during our first mission. I'm really excited about learning more about the integration with Git, because one of the main topics that we discussed during our mission was the control of the dashboards. You don't want to have dashboards that could be constantly changing and then not have the critical information that you need. So I think having that integration with Git will be perfect for configuration management. Grafana contributed to the success of Blue Ghost Mission 1 by making the data available. It allowed us to make quick decisions and basically gave us all the information in a single, clear, concise manner. And I just want to say to all the people here using the great tools that Grafana makes available, keep on building, keep on dreaming, and then sometimes maybe this might help you land on the moon. Thank you very much.